Hello and Assalamu alaikum to all. My name is Chaudhary Arsalan and I, along with my group members Syed, Hashir Ali and Ahmed Ali, are gonna work on the project titled as Pathological Tremors, Identification and Prevention, along with the supervisor Sir Usman Tariq. Well, first of all, let's see the type of this project. Yes, this is definitely a research-based project and following are some of the research papers that we will go through to have a better understanding of what we are going through. Well, I have mentioned 5 research paper here, and other than that, we are gonna study more than 20 research papers. So, first of all, let us look at the introduction of the project we will be working on in the near future. Tremors, as you all know, is a neurological disorder found within a human body and is basically an unintentional muscle contraction and expansion in an oscillation manner that is not regular for a normal person. Millions of people are affected by this disorder and find it almost impossible to control it. Although tremor is not injurious to health, yet people may find it embarrassing, which makes it difficult to perform their daily routine tasks. So the first question that arises, what causes the tremor? Well, tremor is basically caused by problems in the part of the brain that controls the muscle movements such as the hands. General cause may include the use of some drugs, alcohol abuse, overactive thyroid, and some form of tremors are inherited and run in families, while others have no known cause. The abnormal or pathological tremor is pretty obvious and visible to the naked eye as compared to the normal tremor because this is a tremor that really interferes with the everyday activities. Well, the goal of the project is to serve the mankind at a large scale, to come up with a new technology that is a mixture of biology and technology and fulfills the project statement as well. Well, we expect to learn a lot from this project, like how we'll be using the hardware sensors, program them to do the specific task required, and working with that different neurology principle as well.
Talking about the related system analysis, there is still no existing system available in the market that is similar to our proposed system. Getting on to the solution, we are proposing a solution in which we will try to develop a wearable device that the patient will wear on their body where they are experiencing the tremor, and then our device will try to identify and prevent the tremor. Now, how this is going to work, let's get an idea. First, the patient will wear the device on their body part. Then the sensors in our device will first try to identify the tremor. It means the type of the tremor they are experiencing, and then will try to minimize.
Okay, so now let us look at the advantages of our proposed system. I have enlisted some of the main advantages here. The first and the foremost important advantage is that with the help of this system, the patient will be able to use his affected body parts freely and on his own free will, and can perform the daily routine tasks easily and does not need to be dependent on the others to fulfill his own work. The second advantage is that this project will be marked as a benchmark of the future development and enhancement of the remedy. That is, it will allow the researchers to study our proposed system and make future enhancement accordingly if needed be, since no work is done on the problem yet. The next in the list is the portability factor of our system. Since this device of ours will be easy to wear and portable as well as light in weight, it will allow the user to roam around freely and will not be bound by the system like that of the heavy monitoring machines where a person has to remain in a specific position or state. It is a big step towards the future and will ultimately pave way for the researchers to work on this fused field of biology and the technology where very little work is done yet. And this concludes our final advantage of the system. Let us now discuss the scope of our system. The scope statement of our system states that a wearable device that will detect and classify tremor and then minimize it accordingly. Well, Our primary goal is to make a wearable device that will identify and classify the type of tremor occurring, whereas at the same time also help the patient to minimize it accordingly. And to achieve the required objectives, the project is split into the following four major modules that will complete the task necessary to meet our goals and are as follows: detect tremor, categorize tremor, prevent tremor, and the user management. Detect tremor. Well, this is the first and foremost module responsible for the detection and acquisition of the tremor that occurs in a human body. The main task of this module is to monitor the impulses from the brain as well as the frequency and detect whether a tremor is occurring or not. And it can be done by the help of a hardware based prototype which we will be making in the near future. Classify tremor. Well, this is the second module of the system in which the device will classify the type of tremor on runtime and that occurs. And how will it do this? Well, with the help of the data gathered by the first module, it will be able to classify the type of tremor, that is, whether it is a Parkinson disease, a static tremor, or an essential tremor, etc. Prevent tremor. The main task of this module is to minimize the tremor as soon as possible. By collecting the data from the previous two modules, this module will then be able to act upon it and perform the remedy that is most effective to the specific case. Research papers are yet to be studied to look for an optimal solution for the required task. User management. User management is the last main module of the system in which we will be creating an Android app that will keep track of the user's personal information along with the reports generated by the system from time to time. The user can monitor and look for himself how much of a difference this prototype has made. The user can also go and see his doctor while taking these reports with him, so that the doctor can look into the person's report and prescribe the medication accordingly if needed.
Getting on to the next part of our scope presentation is data gathering approach. The first and the foremost approach that we will use is reading out the research papers. The reason we are using this kind of approach is because the work done in the field of our final year project is quite limited and still in the development phases. So to extract the best methods and the best techniques to identify tremors and to prevent tremors, we will use this approach. The second technique or the second approach is interviewing the doctors and the patients. This approach will help us to get a better understanding of the biological terms that will occur throughout the project. Carrying on, now comes the project limitations. The first limitation is that our system can only identify tremor once it occurs in the body, meaning it cannot alarm the patient that a tremor is about to happen. The second constraint is accuracy. Accuracy is the extent to which our system can identify tremor. Now this constraint depends upon the technique that we will use in the future. Now comes the tools. There are two tools: Android Studio version 2.3.2, Arduino version 1.7.10. Android Studio 2.3.2 will be used to develop the Android app that will record and save the patient's data. The reason we are using this Android IDE is because we have a grip on this IDE and we are experienced in it. Secondly, the second IDE, Arduino 1.7.10, will be used to develop the wearable device that will identify and prevent tremor. And the reason we are using this version is because it has a feature called integrated Wi-Fi. This feature will allow us to send data from the device to the Android app. Lastly, we have some links that we took help from. Wikipedia. Wikipedia gave us the formal definition of tremor and Myoto research paper. This research paper helped us to get a better understanding of tremor, their types, and their flaws.